No matter what religion you are, whether you're Christian, Muslim, Jewish, a-religious, no matter what faith you choose to follow, the holidays are a time of the year where we can all come together as Americans and reflect on what brings us together rather than what separates us. However, there's a new religion in town, specifically a new religion from the Democratic Party. And that religion is called COVID-19. And the missionaries of this new religion of COVID-19, aka the politicians, all proclaim that anybody who does not follow this religion is damned to be a bad person who, if you don't go by our rules, follow what we say, and do what we tell you to do, then you are responsible for the death of grandma. That's what they say. And some of the priests, like Andrew Cuomo, for example, will walk around here and write his great book, right? Proclaiming to be somebody who is an expert on handling the virus, an expert in leading America through COVID-19, while at the same time, his state of New York being among the worst in terms of cases and deaths per capita, along with the fact that he also quite literally caused the death of grandma and grandpa with a poorly worded memo that was mistaken as a mandate, which forced nursery homes to take in COVID-19 patients, ultimately resulting in COVID-19 spreading rapidly throughout nursing homes in New York. But yet, he'll say, you know what, guys, don't worry. Follow what I tell you to do. Don't question it. If you question it, you're a bad person and you're irresponsible. And now what they're telling you to do is what we always knew they wanted to do, which is a complete shutdown of the country. But before we get into that, my name is Greg Foreman and you're watching A Black Conservative Perspective. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share A Black Conservative Perspective, aka a far leftist worst nightmare. You can also follow me on Twitter at GForemanBCP. Let's get it. All right, guys. So the Democrat politicians are coming out the woodwork now that the media has announced that Joe Biden is the president-elect. Again, even though it's not done yet, President Trump is still going through his legal process. We will see how it actually plays out. But because the mainstream media is going with the theory that Joe Biden is going to be in office, they've now revealed their real plan, what they always wanted to do, which is to lock down the country completely. First, we have Miss Lori Lightfoot, the mayor of Chicago, releasing this video after Joe Biden's elected in regards to the new direction of COVID-19.
Thank God. Science is back, baby. And the earth is round, not flat.
Washing your hands does work. Social distancing does matter. And wearing a face covering does help protect all of us. I do love science.
If you don't follow the religion of COVID-19, then you don't believe in science. She's really quite a character. I mean, she's really a caricature of herself, to be quite honest with you. I mean, the jokes write themselves about her. But after she did that, she came out today and announced new measures in her city of Chicago that is dealing with more serious deaths than what's going on with COVID. But she announced a new 30-day stay-at-home advisory as COVID-19 cases have escalated in the city and the state of Illinois. Effective Monday, private gatherings are restricted to 10 people. Mayor Lightfoot has urged everyone to cancel all Thanksgiving plans, stop having guests over who do not live in the home, and avoid non-essential out-of-state travel. You hear that, guys? Cancel Thanksgiving plans. The Democrats are trying to cancel Thanksgiving, guys. First, it's going to be Thanksgiving. Then it's going to be Christmas. And they're telling you, cancel Thanksgiving plans. So what we really should do, if the police come busting down your door because they think you have too many people at the Thanksgiving table, make sure you tell them it's a Black Lives Matter protest. That way you'll be able to keep your Thanksgiving plans. But that's what she's saying. Now, you also have Cuomo, who claims to be some type of leader, following the same thing as he announced new restrictions on businesses and social events in Staten Island and imposed a 10 p.m. curfew on restaurants, bars, and gyms nationwide in response to a significant uptick in coronavirus infections. Additionally, Cuomo announced a new 10-person cap on parties and other gatherings in private residences, including apartments and housing. The restaurant and gym rules take effect Friday at 10 p.m. Eateries will also have to clear customers out by 10 p.m. However, their kitchens can remain open for takeout and delivery, Cuomo official letter clarified. And if that doesn't work, the three-term governor threatened that further measures could be on the table, including nixing indoor dining at bars and restaurants to get the spread of COVID-19 back under control. Quote, if these measures aren't sufficient to reduce the spread, we'll turn the valve more, and part of that will be reducing the number of people indoor dining. He said that if this don't work, if you don't do what I tell you to do, we will turn the valve more, aka choke more freedom away from you if you don't do what I say, because I know what's best for you. This is the same party that tries to call President Trump a dictator. Now, a great patriot who was a former lieutenant governor of New York slammed Governor Cuomo and basically said that Cuomo is leading New York into absolute economic destruction.
Betsy McCoy is back with us now. She is the former lieutenant governor of the state of New York. Betsy is with us now. Big picture, Betsy, what happens to New York City if we go through another wave of shutdowns, lockdowns, stay-at-home stuff?
Well, that's right. The governor is pushing New York into absolute economic destruction already. With an infection rate well below the national average, New York's unemployment rate is nearly double the national average, and it leads the nation in business failures. Why? Because the state is being governed by a petty tyrant, Andrew Cuomo, who at will simply shuts things down with no science behind it, Stuart. I'll give you an example. A 10 o'clock limit on gyms. Gyms are where healthy young people go to work out. These are the people least likely to become seriously ill from COVID. And the fact is, if the gyms were allowed to stay open until midnight or later, the people would be spread out even more widely within the gym and less likely to transmit COVID. Totally against science.
What do you think happens at Thanksgiving, which is less than 2 weeks away, or about 2 weeks away, and we're not supposed to get together in groups of more than 10? I mean, what happens in New York State on Thanksgiving?
I will tell the people of New York directly now. Just defy this ridiculous governor. Defy his petty, despotic edicts. He has no authority to do this. And in fact, if the New York State legislature were doing its job, it would have stepped in many months ago to limit in duration and scope the so-called emergency powers of this governor, the way many other states have. But unfortunately, New York is a one-party state, so Andrew Cuomo is allowed to just reign as a despot.
Betsy, we've not seen each other in about 8-9 months. Have you been into New York City in the last 8 or 9 months?
Of course.
You have?
Of course.
What do you think? I mean, I look out the window every day and it's deserted. And I see restaurants and bars just utterly deserted and closing. It's that bad.
That's right. But let me point out that even on a national scale, because now we have Joe Biden's advisor, Michael Osterholm, literally recommending a 6 or 8 week lockdown, the science does not support it, Stuart, in New York or anywhere else in the nation. There was a time, foolishly, when scientists suggested a lockdown, but now almost all scientists, as close to a consensus as you can get, understand that a lockdown isn't the way to go. We need targeted interventions to protect those most vulnerable while allowing the rest of the nation to go about its business.
Betsy, thanks for coming back on the show. Don't be a stranger. We'll see you again real soon. Betsy McCoy, everyone. Thank you.
I 100% agree with that, guys. I 100% agree with that. New York, in particular New York City, has suffered the most from COVID-19 lockdowns. I mean, that city is literally a desert, guys. I mean, everybody that's there has moved out. So I really don't know how they're going to be able to survive economically in the long term, especially if Biden comes in and implements these tax increases and, does these things that is going to make it very, very hard for wealthier people and for businesses to survive economically in that state. Is it even worth it? Once you have moved out of the city to a lower tax state, do you really want to move back to New York City? These people have become accustomed to working remotely. And when you become accustomed to working remotely, companies adopt. That's what happens. After the Great Recession, part of the reason why our market has consistently grown year over year is because companies have learned how to be better at managing their cash and their finances. Companies learn from disasters. They get better. They evolve. And that's what happens. I mean, again, and New York is just not the only place where people are moving away. People are fleeing California as well. Moving to Texas, moving to Nashville, moving to places that are less restrictive and that have lower tax burdens. But this is a part of the reason why I think that a lot of the people that voted for Biden, have to be off their rockers. Seriously. When you vote for Biden, you voted for a lockdown. You voted to take away your freedoms, for a national mask mandate. You voted for government overreach. If you're a small business owner, you voted for the government to shut down your business and to tell you that we're your lifeline. You cannot survive without us. Take our money. We will take care of you. There's no guarantee that you're going to get that. And if the last stimulus package negotiations is any indication of what we're likely to get, this ain't going to be it. So a lockdown, in my opinion, is going to be an economic disaster for this country. It really is. And that's what's amazing about having a businessman as president in this country, is that as a businessman, President Trump understood the fine balance between keeping the country open and not ruining people's lives economically, and also controlling the virus. And because of that, we've tested more than anybody, and we've also been able to maintain our economy. Now, again, some parts of the country is hurt, but a lot of the hurt has come in places like New York City, New York, Northeast, places where they've completely shut down and wiped out businesses. Those are the places that are really, really hurt. Now, some places in the South is also hurt as well. But the governments have allowed us to have enough leeway because they believe that as Americans, we can make our own decisions to be able to take a calculated risk to be able to live our lives the way we want to live our lives. So this is what people are going to get. If Biden takes office, they're going to look to lockdown. They're going to look for a national mandate. And I really, really hope that this isn't a sign of a permanent power grab from the executive branch and the government in the lives of Americans. And that's my biggest fear, guys. So let me know what you think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.